I so wish that the Sam Bankman-Fried trial was televised. This is going to be the greatest calamity, and I want to see it. Those teenagers who killed the former police chief and laughed about it, well, they're not laughing much anymore. So no such thing as easy money. Let me give you an example. The eyedrop murder trial begins, a hit-and-run case that makes good people react against their best judgment. I'll explain. And if you're going to commit crime, you might as well go to L.A. I just don't know what else to say. And then finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you do. Leave me a comment and hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live like we did last night, as well as, any other new content that we put up. And remember, you can listen to us anytime on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Just search Crime Talk. Please go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to crimetalksearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for October 25th, 2023. And the first matter on the docket is Sam Bankman-Fried. That's right. The now defunct, failed founder of cryptocurrency exchange FTX is planning to testify at his criminal trial in Manhattan. Now, this is according to his lawyers. The lawyer, Mark Cohen, confirmed that Mr. Bankman-Fried's plan at a hearing with prosecutors and the judge overseeing the case, which was held on the last day of nearly a week-long break in the trial. Now, Mr. Fried is likely to testify on Thursday after federal prosecutors call their final witness in the morning. Mr. Cohen, the attorney, said, "Our client is going to be testifying." Now, Mr. Bankman-Fried is charged with orchestrating a sweeping scheme of allegedly stealing as much as $10 billion from customers from their FTX exchange accounts. Now, prosecutors allege that the mogul funneled the money into political contributions, real estate purchases, and other lavish spending on behalf of the company. Now, Mr. Bankman-Fried has obviously pled not guilty to all 7 charges of fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. But if he is convicted, he will spend, what amounts to basically a life sentence, a little over 105 years. So SBF is going to have to answer the accusations that he embezzled funds from the FTX customers in order to prop up his hedge fund, Alameda Research, and buying these luxury properties and, donated $100 million to political candidates. Now, remember, he launched the company in 2009 and it grew quickly, worth billions of dollars. And he recruited a lot of celebrity people like Tom Brady and Larry David to promote his FTX firm and also, hang out with a lot of politicians, including former President Bill Clinton. Now, Bankman-Fried's inner circle has turned on him and testifying against him as well, and they're taking their own plea deals. Now, during his trial, his former top executive and ex-girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, blamed the FTX founder for corrupting her values so she could lie and steal, and got emotional when describing the cryptocurrency's final days, saying the collapse of his business resulted in a relief that he didn't have to lie anymore. Now, Ellison blamed SBF as she was intertwined romantically for several years since 2008 for creating justification so that she could do things that she now admits were wrong and illegal. Well, Miss Ellison pled guilty to fraud charges back in December when old Bankman-Fried was extradited to the United States from the Bahamas. Now, the FTX co-founder, a guy by the name of Gary Wang, also testified against Bankman-Fried, saying he committed wire, securities, and other commodities fraud as the chief technical officer at FTX after also sharing ownership in Alameda Research. He said that Bankman-Fried directed the illegal moves, and in what could be a glimpse into the defense, Mr. Bankman-Fried has written a 250-page unpublished memorandum in which he blamed his former Lieutenant Ellison for the cryptocurrency collapse. Now, he never published this, but this little memo, if you want to call it, is one of the reasons why he got his bond revoked. Anyway, it gives a little perspective on what led to the FTX collapse, or at least what he is going to claim it will be. And it's basically that if Ellison had simply followed his advice, this never would have happened. And he also claims now that she was ill-equipped for the role that he gave her and that she refused to implement these trading strategies that would have prevented the collapse. Now, of course, he was in charge, and he put his girlfriend in charge, even though apparently she wasn't qualified, according to him. So he made the wrong decision, apparently. He wrote in his little memoir that she continually avoided, referring to Ellison, talking about risk management, dodging my suggestions until it was too late. Every time that I reached out with suggestions, it made her feel worse. I'm sure being her ex didn't help as well. And Bankman-Fried and Ellison, like I said, had this romantic relationship, which ended. And he claimed they wanted more intimacy and commitment and public visibility than he wanted to, and made him feel claustrophobic. So, in a show of what the defense strategy is going to be, that Alameda would still be solvent if Ellison had agreed to hedge its aggressive trading strategy, as he claims. Now, let's take this for what it is. Why I cannot wait, and I wish we could see this on TV. This is going to be one of the biggest calamities ever to take place in a courtroom. Mark my words. We don't know if old Sam Bankman-Fried is going to get his Adderall, because apparently that's what he needs to function. We'll see. I hope he doesn't, because we get to see the true person. And when you're on the witness stand, you shouldn't be basically doped up to be on your game, so to speak. Cross-examination will be the greatest truth-seeking tool ever. It is the greatest truth-seeking tool ever invented. And Sam Bankman-Fried, I think, has no idea what is coming his way. This guy thinks he is the smartest guy in the room. Now, I have represented lots of con men over the years, and Sam Bankman-Fried is nothing more than a con man. That's it. He took a legitimate idea. Yes, he took it to the next level. He was willing to bet everything because he figured he had nothing to lose. And when everything else came crumbling down, he's going to say, it's not my fault. And he does what every white-collar person does when they says there's a crime, they're accused of something, of taking somebody else's money. I just need a little more time. If they just done it my way, it would be okay. I think that this guy is going to be exposed for what he is. Yeah, he may be a smart guy. He went to, Stanford, and, his parents are really smart. But the problem with that is you can be smart, but he's just arrogant. And this guy thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room, and he's going to get up there, and he thinks he can explain his way out of this. And I predict he will fail miserably. Why? Because he is just a con man. That's all he is. And it is going to be exposed, and the jury is going to convict him, I'm going to say, of all charges. Next, I bet those teen killers aren't laughing now. So look at this guy, Jesus Ayala and Jameers Keys. Well, they're both facing charges, including murder in relation to the death of a guy by the name of Andrew Probst. Well, these two teenagers accused of killing the retired police chief. And while they were smirking and laughing and making obscene hand gestures in court to the family of the deceased. And as you can see from these pictures in the video, that the defendants could be seen smiling and laughing at Prost's family gathering in the courtroom for a hearing. Now, the pair had been charged as adults and entered not guilty pleas to multiple felonies, including murder, battery, and grand larceny of an automobile. Now, Mr. Probst died after being struck by a car while riding his bicycle down a highway, which police believe was intentionally done by Ayala and Keyes back in August of this year. We brought you that story originally when it happened. Now, during the hearing in which the trial date was set, the two had flipped off Mr. Probst's daughter and his wife. Now, besides the fatal collision with Mr. Probst, which the two are said to have filmed, police also believe they had been involved earlier that day in another incident of hitting a 72-year-old cyclist and mowing him down as well. And the video released by a local court on Monday allegedly shows the teens laughing and intentionally striking the 72-year-old man. Now, the victim suffered a serious knee injury but is going to survive. Now, there's also separate surveillance footage showing what's believed to be the suspects trying to flee the police by running through a parking lot, as well as the two cyclists. Police say that the two teenagers stole 3 cars and committed burglary all within a 2-hour period. Now, Ayala is facing 18 charges over the incident, including murder, attempted murder, battery, and use of a deadly weapon, leaving the scene of an accident, and numerous separate theft and burglary charges. Now, officers arrested Ayala hours after he allegedly drove into Probst and told officers that, well, he wouldn't be locked up for long. He continued to tell the cops, "You think this juvenile blank is going to do some blank? I'll be out in 30 days. I'll bet you." Well, there's some graphic video that shows a dashboard view from the front seat of the vehicle approaching Probst from behind while he was riding near the curb of an otherwise traffic-free road. You can hear laughter and comments from inside the car right before Probst was hit, and you can see that he was wearing a red shirt and dark shorts and was struck and thrown against the windshield. A final image from the moving car shows the retired police chief on the ground next to the curb. All right. Maybe we're just calling people out today for, well, who we think they are. SBF, con man. These two guys, punks, okay? Need to go to prison for the rest of their life. This is the problem that not disciplining your children creates. This is a situation where somebody always got these kids out of trouble and they never had to accept any responsibility for anything. And by Mr. Ayala's comments to the police that he is going to be out in no time, knowing that he had killed somebody, a former police officer. Now, I know nobody in the CrimeTalk community here would let their kids get away with such a thing. But if you know somebody that does, you need to tell them. You need to start disciplining that kid before they kill somebody or wind up in this particular situation. I'm telling you, this anything goes society where nothing is ever wrong. Listen, there are rights and wrongs in the world. And if people don't let people know that there is right and wrong, well, it leads to a situation like this where they can run over a police officer and think they're going to be out in 30 days because they're a juvenile. Well, they're not laughing so much now, and they won't be when reality hits in, when all their friends are going to be graduating, going on with their life, and they're going to be going to prison. And no one's going to come see them. No one's going to come put money on their books or take their phone calls because they know they're just going to be asking for money. Yeah. These guys aren't going to be laughing now. They need to be humbled, and they need to start showing a little bit of remorse. Next, is this the luckiest guy ever? A Massachusetts dad and his 2 sons embarked on a pretty elaborate scheme in which they claim 14,000 winning lottery tickets worth about $20 million in prizes. It almost sounds like it's too good to be true, because it always is. Now, please meet Ali Jafar and his son, Yusuf. Well, they were sentenced to 5 years and 50 months behind bars, respectively, over this scheme, which cost the state of Massachusetts $6 million in lost taxes and enriched the pair to the tune of about $1.2 million. Now, the pair and another son, Mohammed Jafar, enlisted convenience store owners to help them identify lottery winners, so whose prizes they could then offer them to claim money in return and giving them 10% of the winnings. So this started back in 2001. It was known that Ali Jafar was up to claiming $217,000 in winnings, increasing to $367,000 back in 2012 and $1.3 million in 2013 when Yusuf and Mohammed joined him in claiming tickets. Now, the family strategy was not a new one. Winners are occasionally worried about publicly claiming winning out of fear to having to give up money to the IRS. So they use people known as 10%ers to help. These middlemen pay cash for a winning ticket and take a 10% cut, sometimes 15 to 25%, and it would be able to claim the official prize while the original winner took cash under the table. The scheme was considered tax evasion in the eyes of the law because the 10%er would try to avoid taxes in their year-end statement by claiming gambling losses at the same rate as their winnings or submit a fake ID. Now, Mr. Mohammed confessed to the scheme in court, saying that they would get phone calls from store operators whenever there was a ticket over a winning about $600. One of the men would stop by, purchase the ticket from a previous owner on a previously agreed fee, and let the real winner sneak away, giving a small fee to the operator as well. Now, during those 3 years, Ali Jafar would claim over 1,000 tickets before increasing both his ticket claims and his prizes through 2019, using this method of claiming his losses to avoid paying taxes on the winning tickets. They claimed so many tickets, it didn't matter what the men were buying these tickets for 75 to 85% of their value. Now, after investigating the 10%ing, it led the lottery to take the practice more seriously. Then Commissioner Michael Sweeney began assembling a team to investigate the Jafars and suspended them in 2019 from playing any further lottery. Well, the lottery had studied their winnings and discovered that the Jafars would have had to have bought 22,859 tickets of just one brand of lotto ticket to win as much as they did. That's about 952 tickets an hour and 16 tickets per minute. Pretty unlikely. Well, needless to say, the Lottery Commission eventually confronted Yusuf Jafar back in the summer of 2020 when he brought some winning tickets to cash in. Well, Yusuf Jafar brought the tickets that sealed his fate at lottery headquarters back in 2020. Within the next 2 weeks, both his sons were also told to take a hike by the Lottery Commission. And one of Yusuf's friend, Nicholas Frankel, agreed to testify against the Jafar, saying he coached him on the scheme. That man worked out an immunity agreement with the state and obviously saving himself. What do we say? Say it with me. The threat of imminent incarceration tends to break the bonds of loyalty. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. Anyway, the Jafars were soon indicted on conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and multiple counts of filing false tax returns. Mohammed took a deal to cooperate with federal prosecutors back in November, just a month before the trial. In December, after a 5-day trial, Yusuf and Ali Jafar were convicted by a federal jury and sentenced a short time after. Ali was sentenced to 5 years in prison, while Yusuf received a sentence of more than 4 years. They are also ordered to pay $6 million in restitution and forfeit the profits from that scheme. Now, the store owners that also helped the Jafars, guess what? They lost their licenses to sell lottery tickets as well. Once again, affirming there's no such thing as easy money, ladies and gentlemen. And this is another example of pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Back in the early 2000s, when the Lottery Commission was onto them, they should have stopped, but they kept going. It's called arrogance, ladies and gentlemen. What do we say? There's two types of people in the world, those that are humble and those that are about to be. Next, the eye drop killer. That's right, a Wisconsin woman has pled not guilty to murder after allegedly poisoning her friend with eye drops before stealing $300,000 from her. Jessie Krzuski is accused of murdering her friend Lynn Hernan in 2018 by using eye drops to poison her before allegedly staging the scene to look like a suicide. Now, after police conducted an autopsy of Hernan, they discovered a fatal dose of tetrahydroline in her system, which is the main ingredient in eye drops. And while investigators probed Hernan's death, Krzuski confessed that she brought her a water bottle with 6 vials worth of Visine brand eye drops, which she then drank. Now, according to Krzuski, she claimed that she had been trying to help Herman, and it was what she wanted. Following Hernan's death, investigators claim they found that Krzuski had committed nearly $300,000 worth of fraud, including a $130,000 check that was transferred from the victim's account. What do we say, ladies and gentlemen? It's always about the money. Well, the murder trial began on Monday, and the opening statements were started, and we will continue to follow the case and bring you the ultimate outcome of the verdict. Next on the docket, a hit and run. I just don't understand it. I've represented lots of people over the years involved in hit and run, and they're usually good people, and for some reason when you get involved in an accident or you hit somebody, people just freak out, and I don't know what it is or why they do it. Police have shown in Maryland are searching for a hit and run driver who struck a man, drove 2 miles with the victim lodged in his front windshield, and then dumped the body on the side of the road. So the Prince George County Police say that Franklin Membreno Mendez was involved in a minor, unrelated collision on an Annapolis road sometime between 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. When he got out of his car, he was hit by another car believed to be a gray Honda Civic. The driver of the Honda drove for about 2 miles, where he was seen on a doorbell camera video stopping and pulling Mendez's body off his windshield and then driving away. Not cool. Now, anyone with information should call the Collision Analyst Reconstruction Unit there in Maryland at 301-731-4422. Now, like I said, hit and runs can be tricky. Good people, sometimes they freak out. Just a little minor tap, they get concerned, is going to turn into a road rage. They feel concerns for their safety. But a lot of the time, what it turns out is that the driver is impaired some way, either through drugs or alcohol. And at some point, the driver will be found. There won't be a BAC or blood alcohol level that's going to take their drugs to measure the level of drugs or alcohol in their system. And they're going to say, you know what? I don't know what happened. I just freaked out. And it's a mere leaving the scene of the accident, careless resulting in death, probably misdemeanors in most cases. Depending on the state, it could be a felony by not giving aid. But either way, they won't be going to prison as long as they would have been if they were drunk, because usually you're looking at about 12 years on some sort of vehicular manslaughter, which is basically a bad accident. You just happen to be drunk. Just something to think about in the future. Next on the docket, I don't know what to say about LA or California, but if you're going to commit crime, I guess that is the place you need to go. So take a listen to this and tell me this is not an attempted sexual assault. So a woman was almost sexually assaulted in broad daylight by a homeless man who unzipped his pants before grabbing her from behind and thrusting up against her. He apparently expressed her shock this week that he won't face any felony charges. So Rebecca Peterson has told the press there in L.A. in an interview that she was told by the district attorney, George Gascon's office, was not willing to charge the suspect with a felony attempted sexual assault because the attacker didn't say that he was going to do that. We'll talk about that in a second. So this incident took place on October 20th outside of a Village Market restaurant in downtown Long Beach. Surveillance video shows the suspect sitting on the ground as Peterson walks by. After she passes him, he hurries up behind her and grabs her, throwing her to the ground. A man sitting nearby springs into action and pepper sprays the would-be attacker, who then runs away. A witness described the attacker as salivating and appearing to be almost demon-possessed prior to the attempted assault. Well, the suspect, Miguel Avila, was arrested shortly after the incident and booked on the charge of sexual battery, an offense that carries a maximum of 6 months in prison, and held on a bail of $1,000. Well, the attempted sexual assault carries a maximum sentence of 6 years. Well, Mr. Avila will make his first appearance in court on Friday. Now, according to the district attorney's office, unless the perpetrator says, I am going to sexually assault somebody, we just really can't tell what their mental state was. Oh, really? Ladies and gentlemen, most trials is establishing what the defendant's mental state was. It can be inferred from their actions, right? Murder knowingly took the life of another individual without some legal excuse or justification. Do people honestly say, I'm going to take your life? No, it has to be inferred from the circumstances, right? What is wrong in L.A., ladies and gentlemen? It's the DA, okay? And I guess as a defense attorney, I should be saying, wow, this is great. We're not sending more and more people to prison. But as a member of the community, I'm telling you, I am outraged. We need safe streets. Remember, a society is ultimately judged on how they treat and respect the women and children. How do they treat them? How do they protect them, ladies and gentlemen? And apparently Mr. Gascon is not willing to do that. You'd almost think somebody could maybe get that guy recalled. Oh, that's right. But the same morons that voted the guy in keep voting to keep the guy in as well. You get the government you deserve, ladies and gentlemen. So if you don't like it, LA, you got no one to blame but yourself. So last night during our Patreon show, we had a great idea. We're going to have a Halloween contest. Whoever sends the best Halloween photo to us here at Crime Talk, we're going to judge it. And if it makes us laugh, you could win up to $100. There's two categories. You can only win once. One, you have to identify whether you're a Patreon member. And second, if you're just a regular subscriber to Crime Talk. So send your Halloween photos between now and 8 a.m. on Halloween. Go and upload your photo on Instagram at CrimeTalk Official. CrimeTalk Official on Instagram. We'll take the best photo. We'll announce the winner on Halloween day, and the winners get $100. Do it now and make us laugh. We want good costumes. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. So some employees at an Arlington wrecking yard got a little creative when they realized that a man who had repeatedly broken into their cars was asleep in one of the cars. So they took matters into their own hands. Look at this. So the employees at the Arlington Auto Wrecking Yard, like I said, realized the man had broken into one of their vehicles, was still inside. They lifted the car up with their forklift and left him there until the police arrived. The 911 dispatcher said, "So he's still in the car about 20 feet up in the air in the loader?" The employee was asked. "Yes, wonderful. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard," the 911 operator said. "We'll try to get somebody out there to you shortly." So the employees of the wrecking yard told police that they were sick and tired of people breaking into their shop and stealing. So when they caught the guy in the car, they took matters in their own hands, didn't do anything violent. No, they raised the car up so he couldn't get out. Now, of course, if the guy had jumping out, broken both his legs, they'd probably sue the people, and they would have been arrested for putting this man in a dangerous situation. But fortunately, he didn't, because this guy apparently has broken in the car before. They let him off easy the first time. The second time, he ran away. Well, this time, he's going to be arrested. The young man who repeatedly breaks into the cars, 26-year-old Alexander Funk, he's been charged with criminal trespass and possessing burglary tools. So, Mr. Funk, you are our dumb criminal of the day. Congratulations, you made it. His next court appearance is October 27th on the charges of trespassing and possession of criminal tools. So that's all we have for you today, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.